Hello everyone and welcome to Call Sign Charlie Models. Andre here, and it is time for another inbox review. And today we have a large 1/35th scale armor kit that is the M1070 truck tractor and the M1000 heavy equipment transport semi-trailer. So looking at the top box art, looks like it's very nice art done by Vincent Way from 2011, and a total model length of 623 millimeters with a width of 109.6 millimeters, which equates to, in inches, about 24 and a half inches by 4¼ inches in width right there. So we go off to the side. First we have the nice desert tan scheme right here. Not much to it on that. Looks like we have some nice decals to go onto the trailer as well. And then we flip it over to the other side, and then we have the NATO tritone scheme right here with a lot of photo etch being included in this kit. We also have a nice little history right here on the side of the box from the M1070 and the M1000 trailer as well. So we're going to open up the box. Let's see how packed it is. This is my first time seeing this kit, so let's open it up, and it is nicely packed with plastic. We have all the plastic here. We have a box inside a box, and I'm sure all the photo etch and everything is underneath it. All the sprues are individually packed as well. So I'm going to get everything set off to the side, all the plastic and everything, and then we can start going through all the instructions, decals, photo etch, and plastic. So give me 1 second and I'll be right back. Alright, so starting off with the instructions, we have the typical Hobby Boss / Trumpeter instruction booklet right here, black and white. This one looks like it is going to be very thick. Just doing a quick thumb through, it is 47 pages long. This is also for kit number 85502, and then we have the read before operation, and then our legend of symbols that we're going to be using throughout the build as well. So we open it up, and again we have our sprue callouts. Again, a lot of sprues going on with this kit. All the sprues are numbered. They are kind of legible depending on your eyesight level. They are legible. And then going on, we have all the tires, so a lot of cable going on here, and then some metal brackets going on, and chain and spring and brass wire, and just a lot going on with this kit. Alright, so now we are starting to work on our tractor, getting the chassis and all the other parts attached to it. Let me zoom out just a wee bit. Alright, so we're getting all those on, and then we're adding some more detail parts to our chassis right here. Getting that all done. Continue on, looks like we're working on our axles right here for the next two steps, and then we're getting those axles along with our air suspension and everything put into the chassis. Alright, then continue on working on some more axles, getting those all done with our air suspension going on, and then we have some more axles and more air suspension and more suspension work going on right here. After that is all done, we have a few little detail parts to put in right through here, and then we have some more hoses and other detail parts going in. I think this is our bracket for our fuel tank right there. And then we're working on our fuel tank, getting our fuel tank all assembled with the steps and everything, and another fuel tank bracket for that side. And then we're working on our radiator, getting our radiator in. We do have some photo etch parts to put into here, and then also the trailer slide bracket right there. After that is all done, getting some more detail parts onto the chassis right here, and then continuing on, just adding all the other detail parts and our fenders to the chassis in the next couple steps. After that, we are starting to work on our cab. We have our steering wheel, our dashboard, and then our floor with the front firewall and the center console right there. And then continue on working on more detail parts for the cab, getting the pre-assemblies from the previous steps in, and also working on our seats as well. After that, we're adding in the sidewalls and the back wall to our cab, then also our clear parts going in and our doors. I'm not sure if the doors can be put in the open or closed position or if that's an option. And then we're adding in some more belts to the back of the cabin right here. It looks like those are photo etch right there, and then adding in some more detail parts to the aft section of the cab right there. We also have a decal for the inside of the door, so I'm really hoping that we can have this door open. After that, we're going to flip the cab open. Flip the cab over. We have a few detail parts to put on the underside of the cab right here. And then we're also working on the overhead of the cab, which it looks to be all photo etch right there. So again, getting all that done and on. Then we're adding in a bunch of detail parts to our upper cab. And then we're flipping it back over and adding in some exhaust ports to our cab as well. After that is all done, we are getting the cab attached to the chassis right here, and then we have the front hood right here going on, and then we have our wheels going together as well. Okay, now we're working on the winch and also some exhaust parts right here, and then continue on with the winch and then some more other detail parts going on to the back end of the tractor right here. Continuing on, adding in more detail parts to the tractor. Going on, just a lot of detail going on with this tractor right here. It's going to look really nice when it's all said and done. Then adding in all of our wheels and mud flaps to the chassis to pretty much finish it off. We have one more step to the tractor right here, getting in the front bumper, and then we have a couple of the restraints for the hood going on right here. One thing I did not notice, let's see, was there an engine? No, there was not an engine included in this kit, so you're gonna have to leave the hood closed unless you can find an aftermarket engine for it. Alright, so now it looks like we're starting on the trailer, getting all the trailer parts on, getting some front arms done right there going on. We have some duct construction with some hosing to go on right in here. Then continue on adding in more detail parts, some steps, and all of that going on to the front end of the trailer, and adding some handlebars, walkway, and then also some spare tires to it. Then we're just working on some more trailer detail right there, getting all that done. Then we have our trailer floor to get assembled. Working on some more detail parts for our trailer. We have some more hosing to go in right here, and it says refer to this step where it shows you how all the cabling is supposed to go. All of our brake lines and everything for the trailer are included in this kit. And then we have all the tires to go on. So we have a lot of rubber tires going onto this kit right here. And then we have the final assembly. We have a few parts going on suspension wise, and then we're getting the front end of the trailer attached to the trailer floor. Then we have a few different parts going on with the cabling, the left and right side of the ducts right here. Just continue on with all that. More parts. Then our ramp assembly going together. More detail parts, more photo etch and everything. We have chain for the back end of the ramp right here. I'm hoping that we have extra chain included so that way we can use it to tie down what we're putting on. If not, we're gonna have to get some aftermarket chain. But again, looking very nicely detailed. There's gonna be a lot of detail included in this, so it's gonna take a good amount of time to get this all done. And then finally we are getting the trailer attached to the tractor right here. And then moving on, we have our cable connect or our trailer connect cables right here. Shows you how to coil them up and get all that done, and we have some more parts going on right through here as well. Alright, so after that we have our color callouts and decal placement instructions. Firstly, we have the Desert Tan one right here. Again, not much going on with the decals or the color scheme for this one, but we do have, actually on the trailer, we do have a good amount of decals on the trailer for that. We also have our color call out using Mr. Hobby, Vallejo, Model Master, Tamiya, and Humbrol right there. Now we flip it over to the other side and we have the NATO Tritone camo scheme on this. Again, very nice. I think when I build mine, I'm going to do a little bit of a mix with the NATO Tritone and also the Desert Tan. I think I might leave like the hood and maybe the roof in the NATO Tritone, and then have the rest of it as the Desert Tan. So that's how that all looks. Alright, moving on to the decals. Decals all do look very nice, typical of Trumpeter and Hobby Boss. We all know Hobby Boss is a subsidiary of Trumpeter, so they're all the same thing. But all the decals do feel very nice. Nice and thin. There shouldn't be any issues. All the writing is nice and legible, except for on the placards, but that writing is very small anyway, so you wouldn't really be able to read it anyways. Alright, first up we have a double sprue. It has our wheels and a few other detail parts in here, looking pretty nice. Nice bolt detail on the wheel hubs. Again, not seeing any issues with any of the parts or molding on here right now. Alright, so on our previous sprue we get a total of 4 of those. I was looking at the next bag and it's another duplicate of the previous 2. So moving on with this one, this is also another double sprue right here. We do have some nice detail. We have some radiator detail right here, and then our fuel tank hinges or holders right there, and then a couple of the other parts that go in the back of the cab, and brake detail and everything going on right here. So again, a lot of very nice detail included in this kit. It's going to take a long time to build. Alright, so up next we have another double sprue. I'm not sure what all these detail parts are for. We do have an ejector pin mark on these 2 pieces right here, but they are fairly shallow and they should be, I wouldn't say easy to get to, but not too difficult. Then our leaf springs, they have a little bit of detail on them, but you might want to go in and kind of scribe those in a little bit deeper to show some more. We have some nice packaging right here. Let's see what's underneath of this. Then we have some very small parts right there as well. Don't know what the reasoning behind just blocking off this one little part with the foam, but we'll just put it right back. Alright, so up next we have another sprue. It looks like we have some of our axle detail, the trailer hitch right here, and some other details going on. Again, we have some nice bolt detail on there. Not really much else about this sprue on that, but a lot of nice little detail parts on this one. Alright, so up next, another sprue with some more axles, more detail parts going on. All through here are drive shafts. Drive shafts are in one solid piece, so you just have the seam line going down the middle to kind of clean up real quick. But other than that, everything else same with the bolt detail, all looks pretty nice. Alright, so now we have another sprue. It looks like we have some of our cabin detail going on through here. Looks like possibly the roof framing right there, and then some more like our front windshield going on. Again, not much detail to it. We have a few little bolts here and there, but not much to it. On the other side, I'm not sure on how much of this you're going to be able to see, if any of it, but we do have a few ejector pin marks all around, but they look like they're in areas that you will not be able to see just by a rough guesstimate on where these parts go. Alright, another detail part sprue. Not much. Again, there's not a whole lot of detail molded into everything. We do have some nice detail molded in right along here, if you can see that, and then along here as well. But that is the extent of how detailed the molding is. We do have some little bumps and stuff molded into right here, but again, this is armor. It's not an aircraft, so it's not going to have a ton of rivets and all that stuff going on with it. So alright, and now we have another sprue of, looks like maybe some suspension parts and also some cable and hose detail right there. We have our steering wheel, maybe a tie rod right here. But yeah, so again, nice bolt detail, and that's about the extent of the detail molded into this kit right here. So not much to it. From what I can tell, the ejector pin marks are not really going to be an issue with anything on here. Alright, so up next we have our cab sprue right here. It looks like it has all of our doors, some the back wall, our floor, and everything going on. Again, nice bolt detail on the doors on the exterior and the back wall and everything. The floor doesn't really have any detail to it. Might have to add in some things if they're actually there, but again, you're going to be adding in the seats and the gas and brake pedal and everything going on right there. We flip it over to the other side. The only thing that I'm really kind of worried about are the doors right here. Sorry, these are the doors, not these. Some nice bolt detail on the doors, and a little bit of other detail put onto it, but not much. And then we have just, I mean, everything else looks good. Everything that's going to be visible, there are no ejector pin marks, so that's nice. Alright, so up next we have some parts for our trailer going on right here. Do have a few ejector pin marks all the way through here, but it looks like we're going to have a lot of detail covering this up. But just to be safe, we're going to want to clean all of this up. And we flip it over to the other side. Actually, okay, so I was wrong. Those were the sides that will be inside that will not be visible. So on this side, on the visible side, we do have some nice cable routing and everything going on right through there, molded into the kit. So again, pretty nice. Should be fairly easy to paint and mask off if you want to either brush paint it or airbrush it. They are pretty easy to mask off right there. Alright, so now onto our trailer floor. Again, some nice detail molded in, just with the recessed panels and everything going on right here. And we have a little bit of bolt detail possibly right up here. Again, not much, I mean, to this kit for detail wise. On the underside, again, not really worried about any of this because you will not be able to see it. Alright, so moving on to the box. Inside the box, we have a bag that is just littered with rubber tires. There are a lot of rubber tires in here. All the tread does look very nice. Let's go ahead and open this up so we can get at least one out. I'm just going to kind of slit the bag open. Alright, so looking at the wheels, they have some nice sidewall detail on them. I'm hoping that the camera will pick that up. And then also some very nice tread detail on these wheels. So definitely, I'm not a fan of rubber wheels for aircraft, but with the armor, I am starting to become more and more of a fan of these rubber tires. Alright, and then we have some hosing right here, red and blue. These are our cable or our trailer connect cables. And then on this side we have our first photo etch sprue right here. The photo etch does feel a little bit thick, but we also have some nice bolt detail on the photo etch, as well as our grill and some other detail going on right through here. Then we have another 2 photo etch frets, one right here, one right here, another one or a couple right here, right here. Those are doubles. Then we have this one and this one. Right here. We have our last 2 photo etch frets right here with this and then this. Then we have the rubber air brakes right here. Some nice detail on those as well. Then we have a bag with our chain, springs, all the rubber hosing that we're going to need. It comes in a giant spool, so definitely going to have a lot of cable detail. Our metal axles and springs and just a lot of different metal parts in here as well. Alright, so up next we have our rubber tires for the M1070, and again we have some nice sidewall detail on here and also some nice tread detail. Now we do have a little bit of a seam line going down the middle of these wheels. I'm hoping that the camera will pick it up. It is a very faint seam line, so I'm sure if you cover it up with some dust or mud and kind of weather in the flat end of the wheels or the contact end of the wheels, I'm sure the seam line will be hidden on that fact. Okay, and then we have our hood right here. Again, nicely molded, nice shape to it, some nice bolt detail on there. Then we have the Oshkosh print on the front right here, the leading edge of it. Hopefully the camera kind of picks it up right there. But other than that, not much to this piece. Then we have our clear parts. This one is for our trailer lights right here. Another one with trailer lights and brake lights and all that going on. And then we have the clear sprue with our front windshield and our side windows and a few other parts right there. Again, looking nice and clear, no issues, no cracks or anything from what I can see right now. Alright, so now we have the chassis for our M1070 right here and our fuel tanks. Again, all very nice. Same detail as before. Nothing special about this sprue. Our dashboard has some nice dial detail on there as well. Alright, up next we have another sprue, or 3 sprues of looks like our trailer wheels right here. We have some nice stamp detail right there on that swing arm right there, and other than that, that's about the extent of the detail molded onto this part. Okay, another double sprue right here, small detail parts going on right through here. No issues found with any of these right here. Okay, so on the previous sprue we get a total of 9 of those. So moving forward onto our next sprue, which was very nicely wrapped in this bubble wrap right here, we have all of our cable and hose detail molded into here, all very fine hoses and everything going on, and then everything else is looking pretty good. So alright, up next we have some more trailer parts going on right here, the front end of our trailer right here. Not much to it. Flip it over to the other side and this is all not going to be visible. Alright, and on to our last sprue right here. Again, some more trailer parts going on. Not much to the detail wise of it, but again, looking pretty nice. I'm not seeing any issues with the plastic or moldings. All the ejector pin marks are put in places where they're not going to be visible when they're all done. Right here, it looks like we have some cable connect points right here which do have some connection or locator tabs right there that will help with setting the hosing right there. So that is a nice touch. Be very helpful when doing all that work on that. Alright, so that's everything for the Hobby Boss M1070 truck tractor and M1000 heavy equipment transporting a semi-trailer. The detail in this kit, I mean, for an armor kit, the detail looks good. The added bonus to where all the detail is going to come is adding in all the brake lines and cables and hydraulics and all that. It's going to be a very detailed kit, but the detail on the plastic is pretty basic because there's honestly not much detail. It's not like an aircraft that has a bunch of panel lines and rivets and all that going on. So straight out of the box, this looks like it's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be huge. And this kit does come with a pretty hefty price tag depending on where you get it. But as you can see, it comes with a lot of plastic. So is it worth the money? Absolutely. And when you get another, if you put an Abrams or a D9 dozer or something on there, that's really going to help it stand out. One thing I do wish they would have included is a little bit of extra chain to do some tie downs or something like that, and also some stowage equipment like a cooler, which the cooler is not in the kit, which a lot of manufacturers now are starting to add in just basic stowage sets like coolers and backpacks and stuff like that. So that is something I'm going to be looking into getting for this kit. But other than that, that's all I really have. Really looking forward to building this when I do it. When I do build this, I'm going to be building it with the Mang D9R dozer to have that up on the trailer. So yeah, that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed this inbox review. I hope if you're on the fence about getting this kit, I hope this helped you make your decision. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below, especially if you've built this one. Let us know if there are any hiccup areas in this that we need to be on the lookout for. But other than that, that's all I got. So I hope you guys have a great day. You stay frosty and happy modeling.